Hello and welcome to Canalys in Conversation with Citrix. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Bronwyn Hastings, who is Senior VP of Worldwide Channels and Ecosystems at Citrix. Bron, thank you for joining us. Nice to see you today.
Thank you, and nice to see you, and thanks for having me on this as well.
So Bron, you've been leading the Citrix channel for over a year now, through probably the most challenging period in any of our lives. What learnings have really stood out for you in this period?
A year ago, none of us could imagine the journey we were about to go, and I'm sure we couldn't have predicted it. 2020 tested our agility on a global scale, and our partners were so light on their feet. In a matter of months, they assimilated a decade's worth of digital transformation. Our partners and our customers in IT were truly unsung heroes of this pandemic. They really just stepped in. They did Herculean efforts to keep us safe, productive, and connected. And they worked thanklessly behind the scenes to keep businesses alive and economies functioning. I personally was so proud to see the partners doing so much good in a time of need, and really humbled that Citrix itself could actually provide what customers needed as well. I'm also proud of how quickly our teams here at Citrix pivoted to adapt to rapid change in the market while working from home themselves. We were all in the same situation. We were all adjusting, but at the same time kept the customers and the partners' needs at the center. And then we created simplified offerings for business continuity. We expanded our pre-sales training and enhanced some of the incentive structures. We really created a lot of enablement and programs in markets so customers knew what they could do. And we ran pilots around all of this as well. And really rolled out a new virtual way to connect. So it was a year of a lot of listening and a lot of learning and a lot of gathering feedback. And what we were hearing, what were they hearing? Where did they need help and support as customers? Where did they need help in their own business themselves? So it was interesting, but certainly very proud of the way everyone responded.
Absolutely, and we've seen very similar things across the globe in terms of the way the channel has reacted. And we've talked a lot about that at Canalys. But the other interesting thing for Citrix is that you've been pretty well positioned to capture some of the growth trends that the COVID-19 crisis has actually stimulated, particularly around the work from home, around digital workplace and things like that. And your partners have seen a lot of momentum this year with Citrix across the globe. Now, as we look ahead at 2021, how are you feeling about the year ahead, and how can you make sure your partners continue this momentum that you've seen?
Well, through 2021, the biggest thing that we saw was agility of the partners and the pivot of the business continuity and transitions of customers to the cloud. So moving into 2021, we'll be asking partners to pivot again, continue that cloud motion, but pivot again to help their customers strategize on the long-term business continuity plans, and really a shift to a Citrix workspace approach. The ongoing pandemic and the recent economic downturns have forged a new environment with new opportunities. The entire world is really redefining work. We're all feeling it. We all redefine work and how we do it, even like we're doing this conversation right now. And it really has surfaced we don't need to be in an office to be productive. Our research is showing that companies are exploring new customer experiences and investing in employee experiences. And the ecosystem is really expanding the way that they create value and innovation. And our research shows that 65% of the customers believe that innovation needs to be the place that they invest. I will tell you that at the start of the last year, and maybe March last year, only 30% of the customers said this. Come September or October, over 65% of the customers in multiple research said that they really now need to innovate and to continue to invest to be able to stay relevant to their customers. So against that backdrop, I feel like we've got this 2021 momentum that allows the partner community to really focus on how to match the way people work with automation or workflows, or creating better employee experiences, or digital transformation around cloud infrastructure, or being more agile in their economic models and their subscription bases, or seamlessly securing how people work. So that's what I think 2021 holds for the partner community at large, to help customers stay relevant in their desired way through these transformations and help people do their best work in that at the same time.
Do you think it requires partners to develop new skills? I mean, when you talk about innovation, how do you see partners delivering that innovation to their customers using the Citrix technologies? What kind of things are you looking for from them?
It's a very interesting question, and many of our partners have started this journey. I was really excited when I thought, well, maybe, there's going to be a big shift for so many of them. And what we found is, 30% are already well on their way because of the agility needed in 2020. 30% are starting the journey and have their plans. And of course, there's 30% that are trying to work out what they need to do. But the key areas that they're focusing on is the agility in cloud business models. The second is things like developing micro apps that help someone do the tasks that they need to do in the most productive way from anywhere. So they're needing some skills in how do I look at perhaps the workflow of how someone works and make that the most efficient experience that can happen. And then with that comes a whole lot of skills around transparency and securing it, secure the users, secure the app, and make that the best experience possible to deliver that. And those are the types of skills that people are really now taking on board. And that brings the value to customer, but it also brings the business opportunity to the partner themselves.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, but I guess if we take it at a high level, how important will it be for your partners to be able to do all of those things versus being able to do some of them and work with other partners within the ecosystem? I mean, interesting, you've got ecosystem within your job title. And if they're not able to do it, does that mean those partners are going to become less and less relevant to Citrix in the future?
So if I unpack the three questions you've asked, the first one is, we know not everyone can specialize at everything. But one of the things we're really pushing in the ecosystem is find your unique differentiator, find your unique speciality that you do want to bring to the table for value. Now, that may seem like a concept that's been around for a long time, but that unique point of view on some topics that are trends in the market, and then specialize in how you're going to actually create that through the solutioning that you have available to you. That's one thing we're pushing on. The second we're pushing on is leverage the strategic relationships that we have. Leverage those broader strategic relationships like the ones that we've spoken about with Microsoft or with Google, and leverage those to bring the additional knowledge sets that you need to the table as part of building out what you want to be represented in this journey of transition. And so all of those things, it's not that they have to specialize at everything, but it's to have a point of view and really be present in some of these trends and work out what parts of those are the parts of those that are important in their business and really skill in on those. Coming back to the last point that you made, does that mean that the partners that don't do these things aren't relevant? Our business is in transition. Customers still buy in the way that they've been buying for a while, and we still need to serve that. We still need to serve that environment. So they have a journey to go on, yes, but they still have a business to support with customers that still have, and I would say in our way, we look at it, there's hybrid multi-cloud. There are many customers that are hybrid, and want to be able to still sustain those hybrid environments, those skills are still extremely relevant and important to the customer base.
Yeah, absolutely. If we talk about the sort of delivery model for a moment, Citrix made a pretty radical step back in October when you made new workspace licenses, for example, available only as a subscription. I'm interested to know what the reaction has been from your partners and from your customers. I mean, Citrix did make the point earlier in the year that actually when customers are sort of focusing on short-term priorities, a lot of them are still wanting to buy perpetual licenses rather than subscriptions. So what kind of adoption trends are you seeing, and where do you see these going, and what are the implications for your partners?
So I'm going to break this up into sort of two parts of what you've just asked. Subscription pricing brings us back to the demand for agility right now. And in a time of upheaval, customer priorities and business models are constantly shifting. And one way to drive value for our joint customers is delivering solutions that can adapt quickly and have that scalability. Our change to offering workspace licenses and subscription model only format is not a standalone action, but the next step in an evolution to empower, yes, Citrix and our partners to meet the expectations of customers in a cloud-orientated world. And so, sort of to round that off a little bit, what I also observed is when the pandemic started, customers went down the path of buying in the mode that they could most easily access something. Then there was a phase 2 where they're now going back and saying, was this or is this the most efficient way? And will it now create the most productive and connected way to move forward? And there were many lessons learned in that middle phase. And a number of the customers realized that actually the agility wasn't always there. So a number of the customers, the positive feedback we're getting from both partners and customers are that they do understand in this uncertain world and the scenarios that we're needing to serve, that cloud would be a positive position to be in. So, it's a bit of a two-part comment. We are moving to the cloud, yes. The customers are seeing the agility of the cloud. We are going back and revisiting the quick decisions that were made and making sure that the customers have the agility to burst and flex when they need to. And all of that is really supported by a simplified, flexible, huge advantage through having the subscription model in play. And that's sort of the briefest summary I could give you of that, of how we see it.
And of course, there is choice in there as well, isn't there? Because the customers can choose to buy an on-premise license on a subscription basis, or they can buy it as SaaS. So you are offering customers choice, even if the general shift is away from perpetual licensing. Is that a fair way to put it?
That's a fair way to put it. And I think to your point is it gives the choice of how they are present in the cloud. And it gives them choice on how they can do certain things in that motion as well. So that's correct.
But it does have implications, of course, for your programs, for your incentives, for your tools and processes. And I mean, one of the pieces of feedback we tend to get from partners, or a portion of your partners, is, there's still some work that needs to be done to sort of make those new incentive models work for them. How do you see that progressing now within Citrix?
What we're looking at is what is required for a partner to work in the life cycle of a customer. And this is one of the areas that we've spent a large amount of time in the second half of 2020 saying, what's important to you in this journey? Where are the things that you want us to relook at, and perhaps get their direct feedback on what helps them in the transition? And those are the things that we've been working on with them to say, where do you need the help for the transition? What's important in looking over the life cycle of a customer and the points along the way? And that's how we're now starting to refresh the experience of partnering with Citrix. And I'll sort of link it back to a customer comment as well to the cloud. In September, we refreshed the Citrix brand as we moved more into the cloud approach for customers to experience Citrix in a new way. Off the back of that, we're also refreshing the way we're engaging with partners to support the programs, the incentives, and the engagement experience that partners will need in that process. And you'll see that coming through 2021.
So if we boil it down to sort of to dollar signs, I mean, are partners able to earn more if they move towards a life cycle model and to sell subscriptions, or were they they won't see any disadvantage in on the previous models? How will things change from that point of view?
Moving to we want them to feel like the cloud is the place that they also will be getting the best out of their businesses as well. So we certainly are making sure that the cloud areas will be where we really look at the economy across what they need to do. So that's really where we are. We're early days, and can't go too much deeper today because we're about next week are about to go into our what we call field kickoff, which is internal as well as the partner journeys and what we have to share with them. So watch this space.
Okay, great. Well, maybe we can catch up with you later in the year and find out how that's going. But just going back to how it changes the sort of partner landscape, do you think Citrix will engage with new partner types because of the shifts in business models and some of the things you've talked about in terms of what represents value within the channel? And will that be replacing some of your existing partners, or will it be in addition to?
It's an interesting question. For us, we are certainly going to expand the partner base that we work with. But, the way that I look at this is the partners that we have, we want them on the journey with us to really reinforce this cloud journey. We are looking at strategic ecosystem partners that bring that incremental value to the cloud motion. So you've seen us make announcements around the hyperscalers, whether it's Microsoft or the things we're starting to do with Google, etc. So what we're trying to do is look at this more comprehensively as an ecosystem, and where some of these strategic relationships also bring incremental value to our channel, and where we need to expand those relationships into being these comprehensive approaches for the move to the cloud and helping customers with that journey. So a lot of it is around expansion of ecosystem for that purpose. At the same time, we also have partners that are born in the cloud that already understand the cloud world and can see the things that we're doing. They understand we've got a very large customer base, and that customer base is in transition. So we also have newer partners that are starting to look at Citrix and say, it's an exciting place for them to invest, because we are investing in the future of work, which brings an expanded ecosystem to bear. If you think about our history, we had maybe the ability to reach about 30% of a customer's use case. With moving into workspace, we now have the ability to go what we're calling wall to wall. We have the ability to do use cases across so many different areas of a company, and that brings different engagements with different partner types to the front. So it's a bit of both. It's taking our existing partner base and ensuring they are seeing the opportunity to the future. And the second is expanding relationships that either enhance or extend our capability to get to wall to wall. I'll use one last example, if I may,
Sure.
in this, everything from a channel to, I've used hyperscalers, but even strategic SIs, right? For example, Deloitte has been working with us on the front line of digital transformation and employee experience. And they've really started to work with us to define the future of work, which is a completely different play. And it's about really leveraging the Citrix technology with Deloitte's expertise and their approach in re-architecting work, and joining that together to reimagine and unlock potential of a workforce. That's a completely new use case for Citrix, and it's one that allows us to get to this other wall to wall. So it's all of those layers you will see as part of our channel and ecosystem strategy.
Yeah, fascinating. Does that also mean that you need, ideally, you talk about Deloitte, a global systems integrator that sort of leads on professional services, consulting, that kind of business process transformation. Do you want to see more of your partners in the mid-market be able to do at least some of that with their customers to help them transform the idea of work? Is that something you're pushing your partners to do, to build the capability to do?
We're already seeing it. For the partners in the channel that saw the transition to the cloud, even managed services, but understanding value. And we've got partners like an Upwork and some other partners that are in each of the geos. They've taken a point of view. They've seen the cloud journey. They've seen the way that they are actually approaching a market. So certainly we're seeing some of the partners building those extensible opportunity areas for themselves too, to really capitalize on the future of work and experience, and not only coming up from infrastructure.
Yeah, really interesting. Obviously, it requires those partners. It requires partners to kind of develop those new skills and sort of build a roadmap for the future as to how to do that, which is not always easy.
It's because they themselves are looking at where their their future is and where they see market growth. And I think the one thing I would say that the pandemic has done has made many of the partners realize and understand that this hybrid multi-cloud environment is part of their future and is part of how you would bring value to the customers. And then the second part of it, I go back to where I started, which is when the customers are saying, 65% of them are saying that they need innovation. Where will they invest? They're not going to invest in normal things. They're investing in innovation and digitization so that they can stay relevant to their customers. That's the message the partners are getting. So it's not about us pushing, it's about these two things coming together and really helping the partners see their path forward to actually stay relevant in their customer base as well. They're getting a lot of feedback. They're giving us a lot of feedback. And what we're trying to do is be agile and move through this in a way that we're driving the future of work.
A bit more of a tactical question. Obviously, last year in 2020, there were a lot of challenges in terms of predicting the future and also managing through sort of cash flow challenges that customers looked at their spending patterns and so on. How are you feeling about the financial health of Citrix's channel today? Are they looking for more support from you, or do you see that the channel, your partners, are financially healthy and financially robust?
We've been monitoring it through the year to make sure that, we are aware of what the partners need. And to be honest, the feedback that we're getting generally, that they are showing a robustness because the business has been quite healthy and is moving forward with opportunity. So they've shown a robustness there, but we monitor it all the time. So my comment would be, it's something we'll just have to watch. But so far that robustness has been there. We've been careful where we need to be observant, and we've supported where we've needed to as well.
Okay, great. So let me round it all up with a final question. The reality is that there are choices for partners out there, as there are for customers, in terms of the vendor relationships and partnerships they invest with. We have seen Citrix enjoying a strong year, and that momentum seems to be continuing. Yep. And actually, we've seen feedback from your partners improving, especially in EMEA, actually, over the year. And you were a champion in our leadership matrix in EMEA, so congratulations on that, which really reflected, I think, the strength of your business and the growth that partners have seen with you. But if we look forward, why should partners continue to invest with Citrix for the future? What is it that you offer that other vendors in your field don't necessarily offer?
The way that I would look at this, and I'll start again from 2020, we pivoted quickly to improve operational efficiency and enhance the partner experience and announce really our leadership and relevance to the world. We became very relevant. We allowed customers to have that agility, and we really were part of solving the future of work. The second thing I would say is we have really focused on a brand refresh in September, as I mentioned earlier, to perfect the example and convey what employee experience does to drive new business outcomes, and that Citrix is the fabric of how people work. And when you really understand where the fabric of how people work, and we've really focused on innovation, providing these opportunities of engagement and experience, and become part of that hybrid multi-cloud that is so important for customers, that leadership is allowing our partners to evolve and become invested in that journey. The second thing that I would say is that we have a large customer base. We have over 300,000 customers that we are now moving to the cloud as part of this journey. And we've created programs that are really specific to that journey. One of them we share internally called Transition and Trade Up Program that the partners can participate in, or cooperative services and incentives that we would really help the partners engage and participate in moving this customer base from VDI and unlocking the potential of the workspace. And that's a customer base we have on a journey. And I think, lastly, I would share, we're about, and I mentioned it before, to start our virtual field kickoff. And what we're saying, and that's, by the way, next week we start January 12th. The partners are participating just alongside our own field people. And what they'll hear is about the roadmap of empowering, secure, flexible work and expanding the opportunities with customers. And that's because you heard me say one of the motions is moving to the cloud. The other that is really a growth opportunity is moving from infrastructure to a wall-to-wall sales capability with multiple use cases available, and leveraging these strategic partnerships we've put in place, like the Microsofts, the Googles, etc. In place with that, all the tools that need to go with that. So think about moving to the cloud and moving up, from 30% to wall. Imagine that opportunity as a partner sitting there and saying, my world access has just become so significantly larger. And that's what we as a company will be pushing really, really hard. So we're going to make sure that we've got enablement, rewards, and we're well positioned with partners for them to really seize that opportunity and drive their business to new heights. So that's why I believe it so passionately, and I'm hoping the partners see that passion and come on the journey with us too.
Great. Thank you very much, Bron. That's fascinating. Great to talk to you. And thank you for those insights and good luck for 2021.
Thank you. Look forward to talking to you again.